Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Side Draft Media. My name is Don. With me, my co-host Ryan. Boy, do we have a special episode for y'all today. But first, of course, we want to shout out our amazing sponsors. Mr. Don Tucker, he's got us set up with these incredible 124 displays. He can make them in any team, any color, anything you want. Reach out to him. He'll get you taken care of. These things are fabulous. He makes them for the 124 size diecast. We'll include his links down in the description. Make sure you get a chance to check them out. Also wanted to shout out Adrenaline Rush Collectibles on Facebook. They've got so much NASCAR memorabilia and collectible items. Y'all get your booties over there. Check it out. Same thing. Link down in the description and go check out what they got. Ryan, man, like we were saying, we've got ourselves quite a guest. I'm really excited to get into it. Talk to me, bud. What do you got for me?
Hey, thanks, Don. Oh man, it is an absolute pleasure and privilege to do these special guest interviews. Guys within and women, welcomed in a piece of their life and sharing that with us. It's just incredibly special. And joining us today is a great guy from within the NASCAR community. He's a man who does some heavy lifting in the pit box on Saturdays and Sundays. He works on the number 14 Cup Series crew, as well as the 00 Xfinity crew for Stewart-Haas Racing. We're going to bring in our special guest, Dakota Ratcliff. Dakota, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Oh man, we're excited to have you here. Can't thank you enough for taking time out of your off night to be with us to share some insight and basically we're gonna share with the NASCAR community, your story and how you got your start in the racing community. Now, if anybody watching recognizes the last name, yes, he is the son of a championship winning crew chief, Jason Ratcliff. But this dude has cut his own path and his own way into NASCAR. And that's why we're having him on here. So everybody can see how great of a guy this is. Dakota, how you doing, man? Let's get to it. So tell us how you got your start in NASCAR and, to where you are now, a championship winning crew member.
Well, my start into NASCAR was a lot different than most people's, which is probably what every pit crew person or person in NASCAR says, right? But so I was actually working at the race team my dad works at, Tucker'd Racing, in their carbon fiber department. And I just got done racing myself. I kind of hung up the helmet on driving race cars. Put that dream behind me, and I was kind of looking towards the future of like, man, what do I want to do? Do I want to do something in the sport? Definitely don't want to go to college, and I don't want to be a crew chief because the hours that crew chiefs and car chiefs and the other road crew have to put in is just ridiculous. I was like, I don't want that for my life, right? But obviously NASCAR is cool, so I'd like to do something. But I did a lot of mountain biking, a lot of road biking, and I still do. And at that time, and a lot of people don't know, but in the NASCAR community, road biking and mountain biking is huge, and a lot of people do it. And so we used to do these they're like 45-minute, 20-mile bike rides, super intense. They're basically like a race.
Nice.
Yeah, we're just digging. And so we had got done with one of those lunch rides, and a guy that was a pit crew member and then had a different shop job. At that point, he had been out of being a tire carrier for a couple years. He just kind of like leaned over to me after the bike ride. He's like, man, like, you ever thought about like doing the pit crew thing? And I was like, I don't know. Like, a lot of those guys are ex-athletes and stuff. He's like, man, you're super athletic. You got, the right mentality, competitiveness to do it. Like, you should try it out. I was like, I'll think about it. And at that time, actually, I was working in the carbon fiber department, and I was working on a farm in Terrell, North Carolina, doing some stuff there. So I was making, for a 20-year-old kid, I was making some really good money, more money than I should have been making, especially. So I was pretty comfortable, right? Now I was working my ass off, but I was making good money. So I wasn't too eager of a place to like go try something new. But then, I got done with the bike ride. A couple days go by, and my boss there, he kind of was over the welding and fabrication department and did some stuff with the carbon fiber department, and I kind of did some welding stuff for him whenever I wasn't doing carbon fiber stuff. And so his name's Shane Love, and he was a big part of getting me into it. He was like, "Hey man, like I don't know why, but he just randomly one day was like, man, you ever thought about like trying to be a tire changer? We got this ARCA deal now with Riley Herbst, and Ty's gonna be in a couple years. Like, you ever thought about like trying that out?" And I was like, no. I was like, it was mentioned to me a couple of days ago, but not really. And he was like, man, I really think you should. And so I thought about it, and I actually was having dinner at my family's house that night, and I was like, Dad, like, what do you think about me, like, maybe trying to change tires? And my dad, a lot of people don't know this, but my dad is actually a tire changer at Bruca Motorsports in like the late early 2000s. He would crew chief and then get off the box and change tires. And my dad's like, my dad's kind of funny. He doesn't, me and my brother, like, he's the last person that wants to push us to do anything or try to like help us out really. Like, he wants to help us out, but he doesn't want to like give us
he wants you to cut your own path, right?
He's like, I want you to figure it out. And he was like, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like, you have to talk to. He's like,
go get it.
Yeah. He's like, John Royer, he's ex front tire changer. He's a development coach. I was like, yeah, I know John. He's like, just go talk to him. I was like, well, you got his number, email? He's like, yeah, I do, but like, he's just there in the shop. Didn't tell me where in the shop. I had no idea, like, where this guy was. Okay, thanks, Dad. Like, that's just how my dad is right now. If it was somebody off the street or somebody else, my dad would be like, my dad would have like taken the dude's hand and walked him up there. Like, me, he was like, yeah, dude, he's there. And so I went to work the next day, and actually had to ask some people like, yo, where's John Royer's office? And they like showed me the way up to it. And I walked in, and first thing he said, he's like, what's up, little Ratcliff? And I was like, hey man, like, can I try changing tires? And he's like, you probably won't be any good at it, but we'll try. And he's just, busting my ball right off rip. And I'm like, okay.
Love it.
And I just started hitting lug nuts. And there's a part of the story which I really haven't told but a handful of people. There's like a 2-3 week span where I'm just hitting lug nuts. I do a couple live stops, mostly just hitting lug nuts, trying to get the muscle memory down. And I'm thinking, man, I think, there's a lot of money in being a tire changer. I'm like, man, if I could just get this down in a couple of years, like I could be making some really good money. Well, I was working out one day, 3 weeks into hitting lug nuts, and I dislocated my shoulder and tore my pec working out. And it's crazy how things work, because the guy I ended up getting recommended to go see is Dr. Price at Athlete RX here in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was the first guy that I got contacted with to go like figure out what was wrong. He's like a chiropractor, but also like a physical therapist kind of for athletes. And he does like a lot of dry needling and different things. He's like a wizard dude with athletes' bodies. But he's like, yeah, usually it takes like 2 to 3 months to get fully healed from something like that. So I was like, oh man.
Did he reach out to Lane Riggs too?
No, that was wild. That's
crazy, bro.
I just love how they popped it back in, and then they're like, yeah, they started selling it.
He's running on pure adrenaline at that point. Man, he felt it that night.
It didn't even hurt. It probably just freaked them out.
Man.
But no, so yeah, he was like, it's going to take 2-3 months, and then you'll be back to normal. I was like, all right. So in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe there's a sign tire changing just isn't for me, right? And Dr. Price, he got me back up and running in a month and a half, which was just unreal. And I go see him once a week and a half for the last 6 years of my career. He is one of the main reasons that I'm as good as I'm blessed to be in this sport, and had the success. Like, he is amazing. A lot of my guys have gone and seen him, and like, he has completely fixed them. Because a lot of these guys are ex-athletes. They have back problems, shoulder problems, like hip problems, all kinds of stuff. And dude, he has fixed them.
Knees.
Yeah, everything. But that's a different subject. But he's amazing. So he gets me up in a month and a half, and I go back to work, and it's kind of one of those like turning point moments. My dad never said anything about me changing tires. Never was like, "You need to get back out there." Nothing. My dad was just like, "Oh, maybe he'll do it, maybe he won't." And go to work, and I see Shane Love, my boss, and he was like, "How's your shoulder?" I'm like, "Oh, it's all good. I'm cleared. I'm good to go." He's like, "So you're back changing tires?" I was like, "Man, I don't know if that's what I want to do. Like, I kind of feel like it was a sign that I got hurt." And he goes, "No, I wasn't asking you if you were back changing." He goes, "You're gonna go practice today, and you're gonna go change. You're gonna go back up there to what they called him Butter. John Royer, his nickname's Butter. He's like, you're gonna
Okay.
go back to Butter, and you're gonna tell him you're back, and you want to hit lug nuts, or you're fired." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, all right." And Shane Love is the kind of guy that doesn't mess around. But the
Right.
thing is, he's also the kind of guy that cares about people so much. I knew he really felt like this is what I needed to do. Which, looking back at it now, is kind of funny because it worked out. But he was like, "No, you're fired if you don't go do it." And I went and did it. And it's like everything kind of fell in place and I didn't even recognize it. I go back that day, talk to Butter. I'm like, "Hey, man, want to get back into hitting lug nuts?" He's like, "Yeah, go out, hit lug nuts like at lunchtime." Okay. That afternoon, the ARC car we had, Bradley Herbst, the rear changer on that deal got let go. And we had a race in 2 weeks from that Monday. That Monday, he got let go. I don't know why, but he just did. So I was like, I'm so naive. I'm like, "Oh, that kind of sucks. Like, he got let go, not even thinking about it. It's like, cool. Well, I'm just keep hitting lug nuts. Well, then Tuesday comes. I go out there practice, and some new kid is out there trying out. I'm like, "Oh man, I didn't even think about like they're gonna have people trying out for this deal." Like, I just figured someone else, one of the other tire changers they got, will fill in, right? Because
Right.
there's like 8 races left in the season. I'm like, I'll fill in, and so they didn't like him, and they made it pretty aware to everyone. They're like, "Yeah, we didn't like that kid. He wasn't very good." So I'm not, really thinking about it anymore. I'm like, "Oh, cool." I keep doing my practice, go on about my day, and that afternoon I'm kind of sitting there. I'm like, maybe I should try out for that. Like, what's the worst that could happen? They're gonna tell me no, and I'm gonna go back and
Right.
hit parts on the side. And so I text Butter, and I'm like, "Hey, coach, like, you just let me try out for the ARCA deal." And all he texted back was, "In your dreams," and that was it. And I was like, "All right." Like, and that's
Wow.
your Butter. That's him just busting your balls. An hour later, after he texted that, he texted me and said, "You got a tryout at 12:30 tomorrow. Don't be
Hell
late."
yeah.
All right. And I would love. I never saw the film. I would love to see the film right now of my tryout because I'm sure it was horrendous, but it was good enough that they were like, "All right, it's your deal. It's $500 a race. You got 8 races. You can work in the shop, and you're good." And I'm like, "Sweet, dude." So like, I went out there and did 8 races at the end of that season, and then the next year I did start off ARCA Truck and Xfinity, and then halfway through the year I got moved over to the '95 car, Matt Benedetto. So I was doing Truck Xfinity Cup, like basically my entire first year of being a tire changer, and the rest is history. So yeah, that's
Wow.
kind of how I started. Was those? It was like 3, 4, 5 months of just a bunch of roller coasters up and down, almost quitting, and then I just ended up falling into the right place at the right time.
That's insane. So, can you timestamp this for me a little bit? Because uh, I remember, and I have a follow up question too, because ARCA doesn't have live pit stops right
Yep.
now. They don't have pit crews that come out anymore. So, how far back are we going? When
That's
did
true.
this?
2018. Yeah.
2018. Okay,
2018.
and then so this was all tied in with JGR,
Yep.
and then you said Levine. So it would have been you were contracted out to Levine Family Racing for the 95.
So how it worked out was in 2019 at the beginning of the year. I was doing the ARCA car and I was doing a KBM truck. And then when they didn't have us doing Gibbs Xfinity cars, we would do MBM Motorsports. I don't know if they're still around anymore, but MBM was a race team and we would do their Xfinity car. And then halfway through the season, we had a tire changer get hurt. And the 95 Levine Family Racing, or Levine Family Racing, was basically renting out a lot of our equipment, but one of our pit crews. So the rear change on that moved up. And I'd already done a couple cup races for, I don't know if you remember, Jeffrey Earnhardt did some stuff with the 81 Cup car, and then Gaunt Brothers through that IK9 sponsor.
Yeah, Gaunt Brothers. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I was on that. They did like some Talladega, Daytona races and stuff. So I had done those races, and they were like, all right, moving up the ladder. The 95 changer moved up, and then I was just the next guy up. And I had a contract with Joe Gibbs Racing for that year. And so they just directly paid me to move me up onto that deal. I didn't have any contract or anything through them. It was just all through Joe Gibbs Racing.
Wow, man.
So you were cemented around JGR for a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we obviously see you wearing the Haas hat. We know you're a championship winning pit crew member from last year. So congratulations on that, by the way. That's an incredible accomplishment. Obviously championships run in your family now. Dad's got one, you've got one. That's awesome, man. But when did you join the team at Stewart-Haas?
So
when did you make that your home?
Yeah, so JGR, which I don't know if you guys are going to ask this question, but I'll just go ahead and answer it. But a lot of times, being in my place with my dad, who my dad is at JGR, it's cool, right? Like growing up and having him and knowing people and knowing a lot of people in the sport because of him. But it can get tough because people think of you a different way, and they're not sure. They see other crew chiefs' kids and drivers' kids and how they act, and they just assume you're going to be that way. And the people that know my dad and knew me didn't think that way, luckily, of me. But JGR, I think, thought that I was going to sign whatever they put in front of me for the 2020 season, just because of my last name. And so they tried taking advantage of me financially because of that, which is something that I was super shocked by. And I think my family was shocked by, but they did. And I decided to leave for go to RCR for a year.
And to be fair, from the other side of that, we always talk about businesses taking advantage of employees, and not that they were trying to take advantage of you, but in a sense, they were trying to get you for as little money as possible. So that's just the business side of it, and not necessarily a bad thing, but it wasn't for you.
Yeah, and it was tough because there was a lot of other guys getting better deals that weren't numbers or statistic wise weren't as good. But I felt like they had to, in the contracts, it seemed like they were giving those guys better contracts because literally they were just like, if we don't, they're going to leave, or they're going to go find somewhere else. I don't think Dakota's going to leave. I think he wants to be here no matter what. So I think he'll just sign whatever we get.
Surprise, surprise.
Making money means more than, being at Joe Gibbs Racing. So I ended up going to RCR for COVID year. They ended up giving me what I was asking for financially, and
good deal.
COVID hit. Tough. I was a backup there, and so COVID was a tough year. And then at the end of that year, I ended up going to Stewart-Haas Racing. Once that once the contract was up, went to Stewart-Haas Racing, and I was a backup there for 2 years, and then got moved up, or I was backup for a year and a half, and then got moved up 2.5 years ago to the 14. So.
Talk to us about, we haven't really discussed this with anyone, but talk to us about the 2020 season and how different that must have been, especially with no fans in the stands, no VIPs walking around in the pits. It's just the crew, the driver, and that's pretty much it. Like, talk to us a little bit about that.
It was weird. It was really weird, but it was kind of, it was nice. All the fans out there are going to hate that, but it was kind of nice that, like, the schedule we have now of like these 1-2 day shows changed because of that. And then also, like, we used to get to the racetrack when the garage opened. Well, the garage on Sunday, if it opened at 8:00 and it was a 5:30 race, like, we had to get there when the garage opened. If you're on a house car for a main team then yeah, you got to get there when the garage opens, and you got to be there, and you got to get things prepped and done and dialed in, so everything's ready to go. Well, now the garage opens 4 hours before the race, so
Right.
like we show up 4 hours before the race, man. It's sweet. Like this weekend going to Darlington, like the race is at I think 6:30 on Sunday. So
Right.
we don't be there till 2:30. So I'm gonna be able to like wake up, go to church with my family, have lunch with my wife and my daughter, and then I'm gonna say bye and be able to go to Darlington. Where back in the day, dude, we'd have to be there at 10 o'clock. Like I have to wake up 7 o'clock, get ready, leave at 8, and be there all day. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that kind of changed things. So that was nice, the schedule side of things, and then not having to work around fans and people was kind of nice. But when fans came back in 21, it was kind of like, all right, it's cool again. Like
It's a different
You
vibe,
missed it.
man.
yeah, it took the cool vibe out of racing, and it just made it super. Everything was super convenient, super easy. It was just kind of odd. So it was
Right.
cool for the time, but then once the fans came out, I was like, all right, fans are back. This is cool. Like we're back to like NASCAR racing. Like we're back to what we're used to. So it was cool for the moment, but I would have hated it if it went any further than a year.
Right. Right. That's a
Same.
great story, man. I love it.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. So okay, so you make that jump over to Stewart-Haas, and you talked about being a backup. Now, I coach football, so I understand team sports, not just in NASCAR, but in other avenues of sports. And so you're a backup, but that means you're still showing up, practicing with the starters, if we want to label it that, and it's next man up mentality, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through a little bit of what that's like? I mean, are you waiting for your phone call for your opportunity, or how's that go?
Yeah, so basically, most teams have a couple backup teams, and Stewart-Haas at that time had two, with Rick Ware Racing, the 15 car and the 51 at that point. Now we have the 15 car, and RFK has the 51. But it kind of spreads out every year. It changes, teams. But the thing is they've got these teams that can't afford to have their own pit program, so they lease out from these other programs in hopes that the coaches at Stewart-Haas or Hendrick or 2311 or Gibbs or an RFK, they're recruiting. They're finding these guys that are prospects to be, the next guy up or an all-star on one of their teams in the future. And so, these lower budget teams are like, man, if we could get a good guy, or a good team of guys that are coming up for a season, and we can advance, even just one position or two positions per race. I mean, that's a lot of money, in the Cup Series.
Yep.
So that's their theory, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll lease out for a good amount of money. And so for us, everything is through Stewart-Haas. We're not affiliated at all, which sometimes can get a little weird at the racetrack, because you're like, I'm a completely, we're our own people, kind of. We're just here to help pit stops, and that's it. Which is way different when you're on a house car at a team. Like you are a part of the team, where
Right.
it's like we're just here to do pit stops, and leave. But yeah, the mentality is, I mean, you're showing up. Usually, backup practice is before the main starter house car. We call them house car teams. So we like a backup practice will start at like 8:30 and go to 9:30, and then like the 14 and 41 practice from 9:30 to 10:30, and then 4 and 10 practices from 10:30 to 11:30. So that's how the schedule goes. But usually at some point in the year, every probably 2-3 months, the coaches are like, all right, we're going to do a competition or whatever. And all the teams, backup teams and house car teams are gonna be in the competition. We're gonna see how it goes. Also, like if guys have kids that are sick or they get sick or whatever, like you'll fill it. Like if you're one of the guys that's on the backup one, because there's backup one and backup two. If you're on backup one, you're probably going to fill in for whoever's sick if it's in your position, right? So that's kind of what you're living for, right? You're like living for the competitions. I'm living for someone to have a kid sick so I can go out and show that I'm just as good, if not better. And then basically you're just waiting on the phone call of one guy's not performing well, or you're waiting on a guy to leave at the end of the year and then you're able to move up, or somebody gets hurt, which is just inevitable in the sport and it sucks, but that's just kind of part of it.
That's a part of athletics in general, my friend.
Yeah. So that's kind of just what you're waiting on. And it can be tough because 9 times out of 10, usually a guy just leaves and then you get moved up. It's tough for a guy to not be performing because a lot of these teams, man, like when you get on a house car for more than a year, you're kind of concreted in. Like
Right.
it's going to take a lot to get you off of that deal. And so, like for me, that's why I said 2.5 years ago I got put on the 14. One of the position I took, that guy's a great tire changer, and he's gone on to another team, and he's doing great. But at that time, in that moment for that season, it took 18 races of him struggling before they were like, all right, we got to make a change. And we took him off the car. And then I got brought in and they're like, all right, this is your moment. Like, don't screw it up because backup 2 guy, like if you go out there and you suck, it's backup 2 guy's turn. Like, and
Right.
that's the other hard part is like when you're a backup guy and that kind of situation happens, I mean, nothing is concrete and you got to go into it like, all right, however many, there's 20 something races left. There's 22 races left. I literally have to ball out and be perfect for 22 races. If I mess up one race, I mean, it's going to be, they're going to be thinking about, is this the guy? Is it not the guy? What do we do? Right. So it's a lot of pressure being in that position. Once you're on a house car and you're in a groove, it's 10 times easier. It's way better. It's the pressure.
Now does that? That's what I was going to ask. Does the pressure does it make it more of a normal kind of like, this is my job. I know what I'm doing. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I'm just going out there. I'm going to go dance and move on to the next race. Whereas it was more of a, if I mess up, man, my head's on the chopping block type deal.
Yeah. So like now having so much credit to my name and my
Right.
talent, right? And all the guys on my team are veterans. And so like all of us kind of are ingrained and concreted into this 14 car. And so it's like, if we go and we have a bad week, the mentality of our road crew and the mentality of our coaches and the mentality of our team, like even if another guy mess up or I mess up, like me, I'm gonna look at my buddy and be like, he just had a bad week. And that's how the road crew looks at it. Had a bad week. That's it. Next week, not a chance he does the same. Not a chance he loses a lug nut or has a bad tire set or misses a peg on a race car. Like, not a chance he does it. And so that kind of that's nice, right? And takes some of that pressure off.
Absolutely.
The pressure is more on the moment of like, there's more moment pressures of like, all right, we're running good. It's Phoenix championship race, last pit stop, 20 laps to go. We got the lead. We got to put them out first. It's those moments, right? It's not.
Absolutely.
So that's nicer. And it's a lot more fun that way, right? Like, because you can feel it, like, it's coming. Like, it's coming.
Yeah.
Or like, when you back up and you get moved up, you're like constantly like scared. You're like, all right, dude, I got to be disciplined. I got to be perfect. All this stuff. So it's freeing and it's nice, but yeah, that's kind of the process of that scenario.
Incredible.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, you talk about living up to the moment, and we know, as history showed us what you guys did last year at Phoenix and that championship moment, and you were a part of that, but you were also a part of something really special on the 14 side. And in 2023, you guys knocked out an 8.45 second pit stop, which is the fastest in NASCAR history, dude.
Yep.
That happened with your name attached to it. So congratulations on that too. I do not think that record's been broken yet. So
I don't know how you break that record. 4 tires fuel. My goodness.
That is nasty fast.
That's blistering.
Man.
That's blistering fast.
That is ridiculous. And I think that took place around this time of the year, September
Yeah, it was
And,
Kansas of that year. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
that's
and
just wild
it
fast, man.
it was, dude. And the thing is in practice, everything's faster in practice, right? And in practice, we were able to run those times and super fast, and even faster times. Our fastest time in practice is 7.95 that I've ever ran. Yeah,
What?
That's a
super.
full tank. That's a
No,
full tank and 4 tires.
yeah, that's full tank, 4 tires. Yeah,
What?
And
but
obviously, this is on the cup side where you
upside
have a
in
single line.
practice, and that's in
Yeah.
practice, right? And
Wow.
so to be able to go do that at the racetrack was really cool. Now I will say, as disclaimer, the 4 car, those guys right now are unreal. They ran a 785 in practice this week. They actually ran 2 of them in practice this week. Oh yeah,
That's
those guys
insane.
are under. If there was somebody on Sunday for the rest of the year that could beat the 8.45, it's going to be them, and they'll crush it. And I hope they do, and I think they will. But
Wow.
that
That's
stop
nuts.
is it was kind of funny because I think we were running decent, and that was just a stop that, like, we did the stop, and it was kind of funny because all of us were like, oh, that's probably like a 8, 9 flat, like it was a clean stop, and our fueler's like freaking out. Corey Coppola, he's like, dude, that was unreal, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like that was just a normal smooth stop, and he's like, he kind of, and I can be super sarcastic a lot, and so he was like, kind of looking at me like, "Are you joking with me right now? Or are you like?" No. I was like, "No, dude, that felt like a 9." And then like I see my front changer, Shane Papala over there. Look, he's got the stopwatch. He's like, "Play that again. Play it because we can watch it, right?
Right.
Right.
Behind the pit box, we can watch the stop." And he's like, "Play that again. Play it again." And he does it, and he's like, "Man, I don't." He's like showing us. He's like, "I don't think so." And so he like hands it to John Bernal, our carrier. He's like, "You time it." And John times it, and he's like, "No, dude, that's like 8:45, 8:48." And I'm like, "What? There's
That
no
is
way."
incredible.
And it was just like, I wish I could sit here and say, "Oh, dude, it felt like it was the fastest. It felt like a 7-second stop." It did not at all. It like I've done stops where I felt like it was way faster. But it is cool. It's really cool, and it was a cool thing to be able to say, like, we're the fastest.
Right.
But
Y'all are the fastest in real time pit stop. That's
Yeah.
absolutely
NASCAR
amazing.
history, my friend. That's wild.
Absolutely.
it will get beaten sooner or later. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people asked us, like, at the racetrack and stuff. They're like, "Man, like, do you ever think like they'll get to like 7-second stops?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know if they'll ever get to the 7-second stops, but there will come a time, probably sooner than later, you'll probably see some 8-1, 8-2 second pit stops. It's going to happen. Like, guys are
Man.
fast. They're picking it up real fast, and it's just a matter of time."
And taking a step back into memory lane for a second, I vividly remember being a teenager, being a kid, watching pit stops on NASCAR and being like, "Man, 13-2, they freaking
yeah.
killed it, man. 13-1, man, they got out of there so quick." And
Oh,
now we're
yeah.
talking about 8-second pit stops, man. That's
Yeah.
just absolutely amazing.
It's ridiculous. And I never thought, like, in my wildest dreams that would happen, because we used to, back in the day, they had the teams made their own clutch guns, like their own guns in house.
Right.
And teams started busting off like high 10-second or mid 10-second pit stops, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, 10-second pit stop, that's crazy." Like a 12-second pit stop was like super fast. So for people to start busting off like high 10 seconds because the guns were so good, everyone's like, "That's crazy." And then Paoli comes along, and we all have, different gun made by one manufacturer, and it comes along a couple years ago. Well, I guess it was 6 years ago now, and slowed pit stops down to, like, guys are running high 11s, 12s was like the fastest.
Right.
So everyone's like, "All right, pit stops are never going to be that fast again." Well, actually, they're going to be like 2 seconds faster.
So now is drug testing a common thing with the athletes as far as the pit crews and stuff? Because I know we've seen issues with drivers through the history of NASCAR, but as far as the pit crews, do y'all get random drug tests for
Oh, yeah.
for high performance type stops?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love it. Good
Yeah,
deal.
so what's funny is I didn't get drug tested for the first 4 years I was in the sport, not once. Get on the 14, all of a sudden we're doing fast pit stops. I mean, really fast pit stops. like way faster than everyone else. We were kind of the first ones to break into like the mid 8-second pit stops at the racetrack. And dude, it was like that. They were like, "Oh, hey,
Wow.
Dakota, you're up. Drug test." I got drug tested 4 times that year.
Wow, man.
4 times.
I guess
in
it's
6 months.
I guess it's a compliment. You see in the NFL those receivers that throw up a 250-yard game and
Oh, yeah.
they're getting their slip for a P test the next morning. It's
And
that's a compliment though.
It is. And like this year, I've been drug tested 3 times already, and every time I go in there, I'm like, "Ah, random, huh?" And they're like, "It is," and I'm like, "Come on, dude."
It's never random, my friend.
It's
It's
never-
never
You know
random.
what's weird is our backup guys don't get random drug tests. I'll tell you that. So it's like
Wow.
if they're not getting random drug tests, I know it's not random.
That tells you how not random it is.
Exactly. You see, you just gotta take it as a compliment that you're excelling at a high level, and you move on. You walk out and be like, yeah, we all know.
Now, I want to elaborate on something real quick, Ryan, before Ryan, because I know Ryan's got one in the barrel. You mentioned Phoenix and that last pit stop, and you want to get your guy out as quick as you can.
Yep.
So we all know what happened 2023 Phoenix with the 00 car. Talk to me about the moment when it was real. Talk to me about when it happened. Talk to me about the emotions.
Man, it was not what I thought it would be.
Okay.
It's not like it was bad or anything, but it was just like I felt like it would be a moment where it would just hit me, right? And it was something that it was like it was kind of cool and it was more enjoyable, I think, than if it just all hit me, right? It was like we crossed the line and we're all giving high fives and hugging each other, man. And I'm just like, thank God, like, thank you, Lord. Like it was awesome. He was able to come back and win. And I'm just like excited in the moment, right? But it hasn't hit me that I'm a champion. And it's like we're hugging, high fiving, we go out to the front straightaway, he's doing a burnout. I'm like, dude, this is unreal. Like this is we really just won this thing. And it was just this kind of slow thing. By the time we got to the stage there, like on the front straightaway to do championship stuff, dude, I was like almost in tears because I was like, dude, it was more of just like just pure emotion than it was like excitement or like this amazing thing that hit me. It was just like, dude, I just felt like I wanted it. Like I was like, I can't believe that I was able to do that. Like I was able to be a part of this. Like I'm just grateful. It was more of a grateful kind of scenario. I was like, dude, I'm just so grateful that I'm able to be a part of this thing. And it's just so cool, right? Like, and so it wasn't this like overwhelming rushing thing. Like you'd be like, oh my God, we just did, it's like this amazing. It was like this slow build up to just this like grateful
Release.
Like, dude, I can't believe I'm blessed to be like a champion in NASCAR. Because like my dad, like you said at the beginning, like he's a multiple time champion. And like what was really cool was that race was my dad's last race as a crew chief. He retired that day.
Wow.
Yeah. So his last
is
race,
amazing.
and he came up on stage and we took a picture and everything. That was a really cool moment for me that like it was him retiring that day. And then I won the championship. So that was that might've been a part of the emotion, but like that was just really,
that is beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that. Really, that is absolutely beautiful.
Now I have to say that my front tire changer, Shane Paula, has been in the sport 15 years. He was a tire changer on the 4 car with Kevin Harvick for a number of years. He's Daytona 500 champion. I mean, he's won everything.
Right.
Hard like 2 or 3 times. I mean, he's done it all. And but he's never won a championship. And so because he got on the 4 car after 2014.
Right.
Yeah. So like he's never won a championship. Dude, that dude, he got the wave of just amazing emotion. He cried immediately. Like, dude, he was on his knee. There's a picture on Stewart-Haas that they love to use of the changer on pit road, like on his knees crying. That's Shane. Dude,
I love it.
He's the biggest race fan in the world. Like that dude, you could ask him about any race, any driver, any team, and he you could say who won the 1996 Daytona 500, and he rifle it
like an encyclopedia of racing.
That's awesome.
Unreal, dude. So like for him, that made his career. Like that was the last thing he knew was championship. And so like it was, you could see the wave of emotion, dude, that just like crashed over him. And I at first was like, man, I'm not getting that, but I'm super excited. And then, like I said, the emotion came later. But it was just cool. It was really cool.
And I love, and the reason I asked that is, and I'm sorry, Ryan, the reason I asked that is
It's
because
okay.
we were fortunate enough to talk to Matthew about his experience. And he
Mhm.
said he wasn't even looking. He said he couldn't even look at the end of the race. And so
Yeah.
man, everybody handles it differently. And that's why we love hearing about everybody's experience, because it is just so individualized. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. But at the same, in the same respect, it just goes to show how much you guys are invested, how much you guys care. And like, this is not just, you know, it's your career, you know, it's your livelihood. But yeah, there's the thrill and excitement of a sport behind it. And it's so beautiful how it all comes together. And, you know, we get to sit back as media and fans of the sport and enjoy it from a different perspective. But for those of you who are blood, sweat, and tears every day grind, it's so great. And then, you know, to meet you guys and build that relationship with you all in the garage area and get those experiences and share that with the fans. That's why we do this. It's, you know, because everybody has a story to tell. I told you that in a text message, Dakota. Everybody has a story to tell. And speaking of story to tell, elephant in the room, we know, you know, everybody's well aware that Stewart-Haas Racing is disbanding at the end of the 2024 season. It will become the Haas factory team. Two charters remaining in the Xfinity Series, and one where your driver Cole Custer is going to the Cup side. So many moving pieces to this. Are you able to tell where you may be in 2025? Will you be remaining with the Stewart-Haas or the former Stewart-Haas crew, or will you be looking into new ventures?
So I was super fortunate to be able to get a lot of offers, and it's kind of a weird story, and I'll go into it. But first off, I'm gonna end up at 2311 next year. I signed a long deal with them.
Right on. Congratulations, man. That's
congratulations.
Awesome. We know
They
that
got
they're
some
an
great
up and coming team.
Yeah, some great things cooking over there. So
they've got a lot of
congratulations.
things, dude. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of exciting news. Hopefully that comes out within the next 6 months. That place, dude, they're always evolving, always growing. They've got so much cool stuff. And you know, obviously look at this year, dude. They're crushing it. Like they're killing it. I know.
And not for nothing, but you go from Tony Stewart, Smoke, for being your boss, to Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin. I mean, that's pretty. If you can upgrade, I mean, that's a pretty badass upgrade, if I don't say so myself. You know, so.
And it's hard to upgrade from Tony Stewart. Let's be real.
Yeah,
you know, it is. Yeah, I'm excited about it, dude. They've got the best facilities, the best people, like the best everything, and it's ridiculous. Like you know, going through the offer process. You know, people call you, they want you to come check out their facilities, come check everything. They let you know what they can offer you. And dude, you walk into 2311, it's like
I'll be experiencing it in 3 weeks, man.
Yeah, you don't even need to say yes, where's the paper? Like they can see it on your face. Like it's unreal. Like it's crazy. And I'm super excited about it. Like it's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to the future. But
congratulations, man. That is an absolutely unbelievable opportunity, man.
Yeah, it is. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. But what I was saying at the beginning of is kind of a funny story. Was obviously I think a lot of people could tell over the past 3 years that Stewart-Haas has kind of been in trouble. I don't think that's you know, anything that anybody.
It wasn't a huge secret.
Yeah. So we didn't know what was going to happen with the chart. Like this was a lot more severe than we thought, right? But for me personally, this was a contract year for me at Stewart-Haas, and you know, when you get to your contract year, you start thinking about, you know, me. I'm 27 years old, and I'm kind of in a point where I've proven myself speed wise and consistency wise. I'm also super young, so it's like I've got a good 10 years, if not more, left in me at a high level. So I'm kind of at a prime place, which means you probably end up looking to get paid more. And so for me, I'm thinking, man, this contract year coming up on, we just won a championship. We're crushing it on Sunday on pit road. I'm like, all right, what's my number? And I'm like, well, what if they don't take my number? What do I want to do? And it's kind of funny. I've never told anybody this, other than the guys on my team. So this is first take you guys are getting of this.
Right on. I love it.
It's kind of a joke. It was a joke for a long time that turned into a reality, obviously. But we would do pit stops, man, and guys on the road, picker guys are always busting each other's balls, always, constantly.
Gotta have fun, man.
Trying to piss each other off as much as possible, just trying to make everything light, right? But just trying.
Right.
And so we had this joke where they'd piss me off somehow, and I'd be like, I'm going 23-11 next year. I was like, I'm not sitting around with you guys. I'm out of here. And then it'd get to the point where I'm like, I'm going next week. I'm leaving. And other guys would be like, I'm going to Hendrick. I'm going to RFK. No way I'm pitting with you guys next year. I can't do another year of this. So it's funny. I would always say 23-11. Then I kind of thought, I was like, dude, I would love to go 23-11. So over the off season, and my wife can attest to this, I was like, if they don't take it and I have to look, elsewhere or listen to other offers, I think the only other place I'd want to go would probably be 23-11, because I feel like they're going to win races and championships, and I think they would come close to what I'm looking for, right? So I've got that in my mind, right? And we get into the season, and some rumors start coming out, right? And I've got a lot of people in my family that are in racing, and so I start asking, like, hey, what do you know about this? What do you know about that? And they're like, this is what I'm hearing. This is, the whispers, this one, the other. So then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, all right, if they're going to sell a charter, they're going to have to let somebody go. So I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, all right, maybe I could go in there and be like, hey, man, it's a contract year. This is what I'm looking for. If you can't pay me that, let me go look elsewhere, right? Because I would love to stay at Stewart-Haas, right? Like, if they would pay me close to it, dude, I'd love to stay at. My team's awesome. My road crew's awesome. The people there are awesome. So I'm like,
family, man. It's family.
Yeah, I want to give them every opportunity, but the reality, we have to be real here. This is a job. This is a sport.
Right.
They have budgets. They have budgets. They want me, but they have a budget, and they have to make it work. And if it's not going to work, they're going to make it work with somebody else, no matter how good I am. That's just the reality of the sport, right?
Right.
And I know that. And so, I have to think of a backup plan. And so I'm like, well, we'll talk about contracts. And then if they've got to fire somebody, I'm like, look, guys, you got to let somebody go. Think about letting me go, because I'm probably going to land somewhere. There's some guys that might not, right? So, and I, need to get paid, and that's kind of a tough spot. Not everyone's in this situation. So let me go look, and so I'm kind of thinking about this conversation I would have. And a couple of weeks go by, and I'm like, what? I think I should go. The rumors are coming in pretty hot right now. Maybe I should go have a conversation. It's in the news. People are talking about it. People are just waiting for it to be official at this point.
Right.
And then I go to the racetrack. It's a touchy subject. Coaches aren't supposed to talk to pit athletes about their contract or numbers or next year, and we're not supposed to talk about it with anybody else.
Basically, like a conflict of interest, given the circumstances.
And it's a touchy subject, dude. So and there's some guys out there that don't care. They'll go talk to whoever, don't care. Me, I'm in a good situation, dude. I've got a lot of good stuff going on. I don't need that kind of trouble in my life, So, but all of a sudden, coaches start coming by and just, hey, man, how you doing? I'm like, man, I haven't talked to you all year. They're like, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good. I was feeling good. And they'll just look at you and they'll just kind of go, hey, man, if anything happens, give me a call. I'd love to have you. And you can't really, they just say that and you can't really acknowledge it. You just kind of look them in the eye and go,
Bet.
And
Okay.
they, right? They just walk away, right? And that's the conversation. There's like
It's
and
that
that's
little
like-
seed. That little seed.
So I start getting that right from some teams, and I'm like, oh man, it's coming. I'm like, it's coming. I know it's coming. These like pit coaches know a lot about what's going on. Like they have to be ahead of the ball.
course.
And so I'm like, they know something, man. They know something. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, we get called into the main shop there, and Tony and Custer do their deal, their speech, and within an hour, I mean, just everyone's phone is blowing up. But the first person to call was 2311, and
the rest is history.
Yeah, they were aggressive. There were a couple other teams that were aggressive, but they were the most aggressive. They knew what they wanted. They knew who they wanted. And yeah, I put pen to paper as soon as I could get the paper. So I was like, send it on over. Sounds good. I'll sign it and send it back.
It's beautiful when a joke and a thought works out. But
he spoke it into existence. Man.
Yeah,
That's
you
incredible.
spoke it into existence. That's awesome, man.
It's the first time I've had something like that just like completely just fall in my lap. Like just
man.
It was kind of
earned and it's deserved.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's earned and deserved. And Dakota, listen, I don't want to cut you off because you've just been awesome, but we are running pressed for time. I want to tell you this. I want to leave you with this. The job's not done yet, my man. You got another championship to go win.
Oh yeah.
You were locked into the playoffs. You could leave with another ring from Stewart-Haas and then go get one next year at 2311. But before we run out of time, I personally want to thank you. Wish you all the best of luck this season, next season, and going forward. Because and it's great to have a friend now in 2311 as well. Just thank you for taking so much of your time. Thank your wife and kiss the kiddo for us for allowing Dad to step away and come over here to hang out with Don and I. And it means a lot. And you're welcome back anytime, of course.
I appreciate it, guys. Like this is a lot of fun, and I just thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
From everybody here at Side Draft Media, yes, thank you. Before we do let you go, I got one more little question for you. Any advice you can give to some of the younger guys that are chasing dreams? Anything you got for them?
Man, dude.
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
I know. I would say the number one thing that helped me when I was like, man, driving home from the racetrack late at night, 2 a.m. in the morning, just got off flight, and you're like, dude, I don't know if this is it. I think just having faith in the process and having faith in yourself and continuing to bet on yourself has been the one thing that's always paid off for me. And I think there's a lot of young guys out there that quit early, like I almost did. And if they just have some faith in themselves and faith in the process, I think everything will work out.
Absolutely love it, man. Great answer, man. Dakota, thank you so much, bro. And obviously we're going to be reaching out to you after the show's over, but man, we reached our time limit. We stuffed our time limit to the max. Thank you so much, bud. And good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one, bud.
Thank you.
You too. See you guys.
See ya. Oh, man.
Just another amazing interview. Just how humble these guys are, how much they care about their craft, and how much effort and passion they put into what these cars are able to do. Just beautiful stories, man. We are so lucky to be a part of the stories these guys are sharing with us. I'm so grateful to be partners with you, Ryan, and our partner, Nathan. And oh man, I got chills right now. Just absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And this is just the beginning. I mean, just like what he said, we stick with it. We don't give up, and we keep grinding because Side Draft Media is here, and the NASCAR community is welcoming us, and it is such a humbling experience to just be along for the ride and to be able to help provide a platform to tell stories like this one. Because I mean, Dakota knocked it out of the park. Like I said, everybody has a story to tell, and we are here to listen and share.
Absolutely.
And Don, it's been a pleasure to be along this ride with you and Nathan. And like I said, we're here. and we're not going anywhere. So
Absolutely. We're in for the long haul, you guys.
Absolutely. But
But
thank you everybody for tuning in. Like, share, comment. We grow as you allow us to. So thank you for your support. And Don, to you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Ryan hit it right on the head. Make sure y'all get down there, like and comment, man. We want to engage with you guys. Tell us what you think about Dakota. Jump on our other interviews. Tell us what you think about those guys. We want to hear from you guys, and we want to hear what y'all want to talk about. We want to hear what y'all think about these guys. So yeah, keep on smashing that like button. All the good stuff that comes with the YouTubes and all the platforms. Ryan, this has been another great episode of Side Draft Media. Until the next one, bud, I'll catch you later, man.